Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I realised today that I haven't done a zetamath puzzle for some time, and I thought, well, I've got to put that right. So I had a look at, basically we have a long list of puzzles that have been passed by the testers, and this one has been recommended. It's called Alarm, and it's by the great man himself, and I very much like the look of the grid, although I am slightly concerned it involves between lines, which I never feel between lines and my brain are a marriage made in heaven. But this is what I'm going to be having a go at for you today. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and I say alarm clock represented in the grid. Now, zetamath, you mustn't let me down today, because I am trying this this puzzle rather later than I'd meant to. It's already dark outside. Life has got in the way of recording Sudoku videos today, so I'm trying this a bit too late for comfort. So I better be able to solve it, or naughty zetamath will attract some ire from me. Anyway, I will read you the rules of the puzzle in a moment or two's time. I've got a few things I'd like to talk about first. If this video goes out on time at 8:30 UK time, then we are streaming in an hour and a half. We're going to be having a look at more Tametsi. Let me find Tametsi, my picture of Tametsi. There we go. So we'd love to have your company. Yeah, I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. It's sort of a hex cells variant. It's a lot of fun, and there will be wine clicks aplenty, I've no doubt. Next, I mentioned this yesterday, but we're very excited. Friday, I think, is the day that we are going to be releasing our brand new Fog of War app. So Fog of War Sudokus by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community, setters like Fistamafel and James Sinclair and Codec and loads of others as well. I'm going to miss out Dorlier, Marty Sears, Peddling Pianist, Peter Venus, Florian Wortman. I'm trying to look for a list that I know I made yesterday. I can't. Mr. Menace, I think, Half-Baked Lunatic, people like that. It's a really fabulous set of puzzles, and if you enjoy Fog of War Sudoku, and don't we all, then look out for that. It's coming on all platforms on Friday is the current thinking, and if you follow us on Twitter at Cryptic Cracking, I will release the links as and when I get them. Other than that, over on Patreon we have got our Sudoku Hunt competition running for the month. Chance to make a Sudoku video with me. If you win, you probably don't want to do that. There'll be gaming keys if you don't like that. But look, this is the teaser for the pack. Fabulous puzzles in that. Quite a lot to do, mind you. 16 puzzles have to be solved if you want to be in with a chance of winning the prize. But plenty of time to do that. The competition closes on the 20th. And some birthdays. Let's start with Emma. Emma, it's your birthday today. I know this because your partner Albert wrote to us and told me that you're making pistachio ice cream this evening. And well, all I will tell you is that that's better than what you made poor Emma last year, which was the chocolate chip Liss cookies. There is no such thing as a chocolate chip Liss cookie. Dear. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the pistachio ice cream. That is acceptable. It's not quite as good as chocolate cake, but it is acceptable. Morgan and Phil, I will congratulate you on a year of marriage. I don't know if today is the exact date of your wedding anniversary, but it might be. I've not tried the puzzle that you sent in, Morgan. I did send it to the testers, though, so you never know. Phil, apparently you watch every day, so thank you for watching, and, well, congratulations. Definitely an excuse for some cake. And then we'll turn our attention to Wilmington, North Carolina, where, Eric, it's your birthday today. And Eric, you noted that you share your birthday with the composer Jean-Philippe Sousa, who is a great composer of marches. And many of you will know Jean-Philippe Sousa's marches, even if you don't know that you know them, because those of you who are familiar with Monty Python's Flying Circus will know that the theme tune, well, will probably recognise the theme tune. That is called the Liberty Bell March. I saw the Liberty Bell in the summer in Philadelphia. And that is by Jean-Philippe Sousa. But that's all by the by, because the most important thing is not Jean-Philippe Sousa's birthday, it is Eric's birthday. Eric, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant one today, with, of course, a large slice of chocolate cake. And that is all the news. So let us turn, or I will turn my attention to trying to solve Alarm by Zetamath. Let's read what the great man has in store for us. These are the rules as follows. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. And that means we've got to put the digits 1 to 9, once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Each thick grey line can be divided into one or more non-overlapping segments. Each segment contains digits that sum to 10. Okay, so these are 10 lines. So, in fact, we've only got 3. 1, 2, 3. It's got an example. It says, e.g., 513173 is a valid fill for a length 6 line because it can be broken up into 5131 and 73, each of which sums to 10. Yes, that's clearly true. Digits on a purple line form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits. These digits can appear in any order. So that's normal Renban rules. So if we worked out that square there was a 1, then you would know that this line has to contain the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, because the digits on the line have to be consecutive and non-repeating. If it contained a 9, they'd have to be 9, 8, 7, 6 and 5, etc. Now, the next rule says digits along a thin grey line. Oh, this is the between line rule. Digits along a thin grey line connecting two circles must have values between the digits in the circles. So you can see that the between lines here have been definitely rendered to produce the sort of visual effect of the alarm clock. And there's an example. It says, e.g., if the two circles at a line's end contain 3 and 8, let's have a go at that. So 3 and 8, then digits on the line itself must be selected from 4, 5, 6 and 7. Yeah, the digits between the 3 and the 8. So, or values between the 3 and the 8. So hopefully that's clear. Digits separated by a black dot have a 1 to 2 ratio, meaning one digit is exactly double the other. So if this square here was a 2, this square here would either be 4 to be double 2 or 1 because 2 is double 1. And not all dots are necessarily given. Now, that's sometimes included in rule sets, and that's just to make it clear that let's imagine this was a 2 and this was a 4. There doesn't have to be a black dot between such relationships in this puzzle. Obviously there could have been a black dot between these two digits because 4 is double 2, but there doesn't have to be. So the only thing we really know from a black dot perspective is that that domino has digits with the 1 to 2 ratio relationship, and they are all the rules. So you know the rules, and so do I. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, the first and most obvious thing to say here is that that is a 5-cell Renban, and that 5-cell Renban must contain a 5, because if you think about the digits 1 to 9, if you're going to cut a set of 5 consecutive digits, even if you start with the lowest digit, you'll reach 5, and if you start with the highest digit and count downwards, you'll reach 5. So there is definitely a 5 in here. But, I mean, the geometry of that line doesn't look terribly propitious to me. Well, I mean, what generic things can we say about between lines? The only thing, in fact, it is really the only thing I know about between lines. A bit like thermometers. I know one secret of thermometers, and I know one secret of between lines. So on between lines, you can't put 1s and 9s on the line. That's something that, well, yes, okay. So that immediately makes me wonder about where we're putting 1 and 9 in row 1. But just to explain that point, if you put a 1 or a 9 on a between line, let's put 1 on it, then one of these digits would have to be a 0 to frame or have a value beneath the value we've put on the line. Obviously, we put a 9 on the line. You've got to put a 10 or higher in one of these squares, and they aren't Sudoku digits. So 1s and 9s have to be not on lines. And these are 10 lines, aren't they? So if we have 9 in one of these squares or one of these squares, it will have to go with a 1 in a domino. Yeah, okay, so that is not actually desperately easy to do, is it? In fact, that is very interesting. Let's talk about secrets of 10 lines, because there aren't many, but I do know that this sort of pattern can only be broken up into 2 segments that add up to 10. It can't be 3 segments, because although in theory you could make 5 different Sudoku digits add up to 30, that is totally possible. You could make 4 different digits add up to 30 if they were 6, 7, 8 and 9. But the minimum length of a 10 sum is 2 cells, because we can't just write 10 into any one of these cells. So if we did say make that a domino and said that adds to 10, and then we tried to make the line overall add up to 30, we'd have to have another domino that adds up to 10, and then this cell, there's not enough space for it to be 2 digits that sum to 10, so you can't do it. So these 2 lines here, well, this line has to be 1, using that deduction. It's not really a deduction, but that point, we can't split that line up into 2 different segments, each of which sum to 10. So this is either a 2 like that and a 3 like that, or the other way round, and it's 2 like that and 3 like that. And that is true also for this. But what I want to go back to thinking about 9 actually in the top row, because 9, if we think about the segment that it's on the 10 line, is either here or here. Now, could you put 9 in the corner? Nobody puts 9 in the corner. You can't do it, not in this puzzle anyway, because the 9 will be attached to a 1 to make a segment that adds up to 10, and you can see that wherever you put the 1, you'll leave behind a cell which is not capable of being part of a 10 sum. So I think what that means, well, yeah, this is definitely interesting, because what that means, I don't know how we're going to tell which way round this goes, but it means either this domino must add up to 10, because the 9, what that means is the 9 is going somewhere near the end of the line, doesn't it? So the 9 is either in this domino and it's a 9-1 pair adding to 10, or it's in this domino and it's a 9-1 pair adding to 10 here. Nothing else is possible. You can't put the 9 here and then put the 1 to one side in the corner, because it's the same problem as if you put the 9 in the corner. You strand a cell which cannot in and of itself add up to 10. Now, the other thought that then occurs to me is that whichever side this is on, let me just think about this for a moment, because I really would rather tell you which side it's on. There may be an obvious reason. There's a lot of symmetry though, isn't there? The symmetry in this puzzle is, when I say symmetry, I mean symmetry around the sort of center of the grid, down the middle of column 5. If you fold the grid over, an awful lot of these between lines would just marry up. The rem bands break the symmetry, the dot doesn't. That breaks the symmetry, and this breaks the symmetry. So what I'm interested in is what is it about the internal logic of the puzzle that's going to throw the 1-9 pair to this side or to this side? Because something One of the symmetry breaking clues must determine that. That's actually extremely difficult to understand. I don't see how to do that at all. So I'm going to tell you the other thing I thought about, which is that if this was a 1-9 pair, for example, how would this 10 sum be made up? It's a 3-cell 10 sum that doesn't involve a 1. So it would have to be 2, 3, 5. That's the only way of making 3 different digits add up to 10. If you can't use a 1. So on one side of the puzzle there is a 2, 3, 5 triple pointing down at another between line that then couldn't contain 2, 3 or 5. Wait a minute, what's going on here? I have a horrible feeling I've missed something very obvious. Okay, this is what I'm now thinking about. I'm wondering whether this is what I was meant to do at the start. What I'm now thinking about, well, what I was thinking about was this digit, actually. Because I suppose this is the corollary of my secret about between lines. You can't put a I mean, this is such a truism. I apologise for stating truisms, but you can't put the digit in a circle. Whatever this digit is, it can't go on its own between line, because by the rules of between lines. So that digit is one of those digits. Well, we don't know if it's this way round, but that is going to be true either way, isn't it? But what I mean by that is this orange digit in the box above can't go in its own column, can't go on its own between lines, so is in one of those 3 squares. So by Sudoku is in one of those 3 squares. That is true. So what that means is if this side had 1, 9 here and 2, 3, 5 here, this would be a 2, 3 or a 5. That would be a jolly big digit. Probably would be a big digit, actually. Just Sudoku wise, that would be 4, 6, 7 or 8. 4, 6, 7 or 8. This would be 2, 3 or 5. And there would have to be three differences. Actually, I'm going to put that, just let me think about that for a second. 4, 6, 7, 8 here. 2, 3, 5 here. And this obviously is interchangeable. If this pattern was on the right hand side of the grid, the symmetry is identical. So this would be the case on the other side. So I'm going to claim this could never be a 5. That must be true. If this is a 5, we need 3 digits between this 5 and whatever we put in that square. And there aren't 3. So this would be a 2 or a 3, and this wouldn't be a 4. 2. It's actually very constrained, isn't it? It's very constrained because these digits... Yeah, in fact, what are these digits? These would have to be from 4. These would have to be 4, 6 and 7, wouldn't they? Oh no, they would have to be 4, 6 and 7, I think. I think that would have to be an 8. So on one side of the grid we've got an 8 in one of... Yeah, this is zetamath. This is zetamath. So on one side of the grid you've got an 8 in one of these squares, I'm going to claim. You've got 4, 6, 7 on the line. That doesn't tell you what this digit is, though. That could still be 2 or 3, which is very strange. 6, 7. And 1, 8, 9 live at the bottom of the grid. Oh, good grief. Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I've done this right, but by serendipity rather than... Okay, so this is correct actually, i.e. this is what's happening on the left hand side of the grid. This is beautiful. Right, that it's to do with between line. Oh no, it's to do with 10 lines that add up to 10. 10 lines that add up to 10. It's to do with 10 lines that add up to 10. No, but it's to do with that 10 line. Okay, so we have to, let me show you. Let's ignore what I've done on the right hand side of the grid, and let's imagine that this was wrong and we had to put the 1 9 here. Now watch this, because it's very pretty. Now the crucial thing, in fact this is, I can distill this down to be much more beautiful. Right, this is brilliant. Okay, the question I should have asked immediately is, okay, if you do have that configuration, where is the 1 in column 9 or column 1, but where's the 1? We just said, I said at the very start, you can't put 1 on a between line, so you have to put a 1 right at the bottom of the column. Now what does that do to that 3-cell segment that has to add up to 10? Well, we've already looked at it. We know if you have a 3-cell segment that doesn't contain a 1, it has to be 2, 3 and 5. Well, by the logic of these lines, which actually applies throughout the grid, we know that digit there can't go on its own line, is in one of those. It's exactly the same as here, so it is a 2, 3 or a 5 by Sudoku. So if 2, 3 and 5 cannot be in that square, you can't do this on this side of the grid. There is nothing to put in this square that's valid. That's beautiful. That is just beautiful. So this is total and utter nonsense. And that means no nonsense. We go back over here. This is correct. This is correct. And the reason it works is that there is nothing constraining the rest of box 7. You know, we don't have to fill 2, 3 and 5 into that between line. In fact, we can't. Right, but now we can go back to the other thinking, which is we have to populate this line. We know this can't be 5. I think this has to be 4, 6, 7, because it's got to be digits that are higher than 2 or 3, that are not 2, 3 or 5, that are framed by this digit, which is going to be on the high side. So this is the high digit on the between line. This is the low digit. That has to be 8. These squares are 1, 8, 9. One of those is in a circle here, look. Although these are this 1, 8, 9 are very extreme digits, so that this feels like a disambiguating between line to me. What do I mean by a disambiguating between line? I mean a line that's been put into the puzzle to deal with a late stage disambiguation. I'd be very surprised if that's the next step. I'll probably be proved totally wrong now, but that's just my impression. What are those digits then? 4, 6 and 7. Okay, so that's probably going to affect this line, isn't it? Yeah, that digit, by this logic we've been learning, that digit is in one of those squares and is then on that line up there, which is going to be interesting. Okay. I'm not exactly sure. Can we use the 5 thing that we worked out? No. Can I do more down here? I suspect I can. Let's just think. So, actually, I don't know how to do that. What about, or maybe it could be this one. That being 4, 6, 7 and getting thrown up here. What does that mean? Now, I don't know the answer to that. Right, okay, here is something simpler then. This between line segment is not the 3 cells. Because if it was, what would we populate it with? We can't we can't use a 1. If this is a 3-cell segment summing to 10, we can't use a 1 on the segment, so it would be 2, 3, 5 again, and that would break this square. So this line breaks in the same way as this line. It's a domino here. Let's go to the line drawing tool. It's a domino there, and then a 3-cell segment there. Now, well, yes, for the same, we still can't write 2, 3, and 5 in here, can we? Because if we do, we've got exactly the same problem down here again. That's what told us that this configuration is correct. We put 2, 3, 5 there. We've got to put 1 and 9 down here. This has to be a 2, 3, 5, and that's going to break because it needs to be a 2, 3, or a 5 by Sudoku. So this is a 3-cell segment summing to 10 that must include a 1. That's not a 1 in the corner. So this is either 127, 136, or 145. Which is very interesting. And this is a domino that adds up to 10. It's either 2, 8, 3, 7 or 4, 6. Many of which get... So if this was 1, 2, 7, this would have to be 4, 6. If this was 1, 3, 6, this would have to be 2, 8. And if this was 1, 4, 5... then actually this would have 2 options. It could be 2, 8 or 3, 7. Now, do we know what that is? No, well, if I knew a little bit more about this, I would be very much more confident. Can that be 8? I'm just wondering about this 8 here. If that's 8, then this has to be 4. This has to be 5, 6. No, that doesn't. Well, that's complicated, actually, though. That's very complicated. This can't be 8. And that is because I don't think there's a way of making this domino work. Let's just go through that, because that's not that straightforward. Oh, in fact, no, hang on, it's much easier. Sudoku just breaks it if that's 8. Oh, hang on. Hang on. That's the trick, isn't it? Am I just being incredibly dense here? Hang on. I don't want to be incredibly dense. I resist that. I don't want to be incredibly dense. Don't be incredibly dense. Don't be incredibly dense. If I put... Oh no, I could put 8 on the line. Well, yeah, I can't put 8 here, because then I have to put 8 on the line by Sudoku. I was thinking I was going to be able to put a 2-8 pair in here, but that's wrong, isn't it? Because I could put 8 here, for example, and then 8 on this line if this is a 9, which I hadn't thought about. Bobbins. Okay, but that's definitely not 8, because that would put 8 on the line. The way I actually did that was far more complicated. What I did was, I said if this is 8, this has to be 5, 6, 7, and then there's no domino available for that, because it can't be 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7 or 4, 6. That's unnecessarily complicated. So 8 in this box is a bit restricted. It's not there, it can't be on a 3-cell segment adding up to 10. So it's in one of 3 positions, very possibly in this domino. And if it is there, this is a 9. But if it's there, then there's an 8 here. Oh dear. I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not seeing this at all. I mean, we could do I mean, it's not going to be like, where is... Yeah. Actually, that's an interesting question. Where's 2 in the first row? 2 can't go on this line anymore because you can't put 1 in either circle. So 2 is either in the corner or it's in one of those 3. Oh, that's no use. It could be a 2-8 pair. 2 in the corner would make these have to add up to 8. 1-7 would work. Okay. So we've got to think again. I'm sorry, this is suddenly not as easy as I was expecting. What about if that's 6? Is that really possible? Because this can't be 1. Wouldn't this have to be 2? Let me think about that. If that's 6, we need 3 digits here that are definitely lower than 6. We can't go 7, 8, 9 and make this a 10. So these have to be 3 digits lower than 6 that allow this to frame it. This has to be 2. This would have to be 3, 4, 5. And that doesn't work. It's the same. It's the sort of same reason that I was getting rid of 8 here. It works the same way. If that's 3, 4, 5, but this time it's not simply ruled out by Sudoku. It works the same way. There's no domino that's valid here. Can't be 2, 8, can't be 1, 9, can't be 3, 7, can't be 4, 6. So actually, this is not 6. We might be able to do better than that. What about if this is 7? If this is 7, then I think this can be 2 or 3. If it's 3, this has to be 4, 5, 6. That would allow 2, 8 to exist, actually. Bother. If it's 2, yeah, this could just skip the digit that was... it could skip a 3 or a 4 and allow this domino to exist. Oh, okay. And if that's 4, then this has to be a high digit, which can't be an 8, actually. Or... can it be a 9? Oh, it can be a 9. That's what we were working on before. Bother. In fact, yes, that's a good question. Where is 9 in box 3? Can't go on the 3-cell segment, can't go on the 2-cell segment. So 9 is in one of these squares. This is probably what I should have done before. So that could be 9, or that could be 9. If that's 4 and that's 9, these are from 5, 6, 7... and 8. Oh dear. This is not going very well. I don't know. Oh, but hang on. It's going to be... right. This digit, which I've got down to being 4 or 7, has to be over here. Oh no. No. No, I say it again, no. That's not helpful at all. I mean, obviously it would be very helpful if we knew where it went. But it could go here or here and be 4 or 7 and make a valid domino. Or here and be 4 or 7 and make a valid triple. Wow, that's really weird. Okay, but I tell you what we could do. We could reverse the logic, because that digit has to appear in one of those squares, doesn't it? That's a good idea. Yeah, that'll be it. Right, this digit, again, it can't go on its own between line. It is in one of those squares. Now, this digit is not able to actually... so it's in one of these by Sudoku, but it's not able to be 1 because we've put a 1 over here. It might be able to be 9, but if it's not 9, it's 2, 3, or 5. Now, what it isn't is 5. That's far too close to this to have a set 3 digits between those values. So is 3 difficult? If this is... I think 3 worked when we did it before. If this is 3... oh... No, actually, I've changed my mind. It's not 2. This is weird. It's not 2 for a really beautiful reason. I have to tell you this because I've just noticed it and I think it's beautiful. If this is 2, what we are doing in this box is eliminating the possibility of a 2-8 pair here. And that puts the 8 here. And what we learned earlier is if we put the 8 there, we have to put 8 on the between line, and this needs to be a 9. Well, it cannot simultaneously be 2 and 9, so that is just not able to be 2. Isn't that gorgeous? So I only have to get rid of 3 or 9 here. Now, if it's a 3 here, it will go in the corner. And what would that mean? I don't know. If it's a 9, then there'd be a 9 here, but this would be a 4. So I suspect one of these options will put too much pressure on this. Let's try 3. I'm so sorry. I've just had a big interruption there. One corollary of me starting the video late is that other things in my life have the potential to interrupt the video, and that is what has just happened for about at least half an hour. So I've just sat down again. I have totally this is my worst nightmare as well, because I will just talk about this for a moment. I think because I'm sure Mark feels the same way. We do so many puzzles. But you almost train your brain to forget a puzzle. Once you walk away from it, you're moving on to the next puzzle. So, you're, especially when we used to speed solve in competition, the idea would be bonkers to retain any information from a prior puzzle when solving the one you were on. So you sort of train your brain to just let everything go. And when I step away from a puzzle and then come back to it, it's a bit like I've lost some of that neural network I've created in the meantime, and I really find it very difficult. But anyway, I will let me just spend a moment or two rethinking what was I doing. I've got rid of a 2 there. Now I do remember why I did that. That was the beautiful logic about the 8, wasn't it? So that's why I got rid of that. But how much investigation had I done into the other digits here? I don't remember really. I've got... This is a 10 sum. I mean, I know I knew all this. Why was that? Why was... see, I couldn't even remember that. I was thinking, why was that not 2, 3, 5? And I was forgetting that was all to do with down here, but I've remembered it now. So this wasn't 2, 3, 5. Therefore, it has to have a 1 on it. The 1 has to be here. So this is either 1, 4, 5, 1, 2, 7, or 1, 3, 6. All of those have different effects on this, which is a 10 domino. But it's not 1, 9. It's got lots of other options. This had to have a 5 on it, but we don't know where. And what else? We can presumably... Well, what can we do? Maybe we're meant to look at this line. Whereas I haven't done any colouring on this line. Let's think about that. So that digit definitely goes in one of those 3 squares. Definitely goes in one of those 3 squares. So this digit is from the possible digits in a 3-cell 10 sum, which don't include 8 and 9. So this digit is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. I am not pencil marking it. And that digit looks very much like it wants to be 9, doesn't it? That has all. If that was 9, that would be 3. That would be 7. This would be, if very forcing actually, if that's 9. 3, 7, that has to be 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. This would have to be 2, 8. 3, 2, 8. This would have to be, we'd use 2 and 3 here. This segment would have to be 1, 4, 5. That doesn't work. Okay, that's very complicated, but it doesn't work. Can I find an easier way of explaining that? Maybe. So I started that by saying if that's 9. But actually we can start later in the process than that. That can't be 3, is what I just worked out. Because if that is 3, this square is impossible to fill now. So how can we see that more cleanly? If this is 3, we do get a 3 in the corner, don't we, by red logic. But the problem arises. Yeah, you can see it. It's tricky, but you can see it. The simple. Let's go through it. The simple point is, if that's 3, this is obviously 7, and this is forced to be 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to have a 3 in the corner here, and the only option left for this is 2 and 8. And you can see that. So so that we can stop there. Well, so the point is that the way that the digits sort of bounce back and forwards because of the sort of weird between line Sudoku logic is then a problem, because once this is 7, remember, 7 has to be in one of these squares. But once this is 3, and we've got the 3 in the other corner as a result of the red logic, the 7 can't be in the domino that adds up to 10. The 7 has to go in the corner with a 1-2 pair. And that means this has only got the option of being 4 and 6, and that's most certainly not possible. Yeah, I quite like that, actually. I quite like that. So what we're saying is it's causing this to be 3 and this to be 7, sends the 3 and the 7 away from each other in terms of row 1. It throws the 7 over here, but not into the domino, because it can't go into the domino because its friend the 3 that it needs to add up to 10 goes over here. And once that becomes 7, 1, 2, you end up with 4, 6 here, and that makes this between line impossible to fill. I like that. That's very clever. Now, what does that mean? If that's not 3, it's 9 then. I will trust my logic that got me to that before. So this is now not 7, that's 4. So this is now made up of basically quite high digits, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Well, this is not 6, 7, and 8, because that would have no possible domino fill. It wouldn't be. If this was 6, 7, 8, this would have to be, well, it couldn't be anything. It could be 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7, or 4, 6. So there is definitely a 5 here, which means that is definitely not a 5. Now, this is... yeah, okay, so there is a sort of floating 6, 7, 8 triple in row 1. What do I mean by floating? It means I don't know quite where it goes, but I know there must be a high digit in this domino that's either 8, 7, or 6. And then it's the 2 digits that it's not from 8, 7, and 6 are going to be on this between line. So between these 5 cells, we use up 6, 7, and 8 in the row. And we use up 1 and 9. So 2, 3, and 4 is the digit that sits in the corner. Now, we know there's a 1 on the line as well. So if this is 2, this is 1, 7. If this is 3, this is 1, 6. If this is 4, this is 1, 5. 2, 1, 7 forces this to be 4, 6. That nearly breaks. 3, 1, 6 forces this to be 3, 1, 6 forces that to be 2, 8. That doesn't work, actually. Okay, that's not 3. Because if that was 3, that's 2. And because this has to be 3, 1, 6 to add up to 10, there's no option here. Because the 2, 8 is ruled out by the 2 in the other corner. So all we've got to do now is get rid of 4 here. And we know this is a 2, and that will be huge. So how do we get rid of 4? If this is 4, this is 1, 5. Therefore, this is not 4, 6. So the 6 is over here. This could be either 2, 8 or 3, 7. Oh no, that's going to work. Ah. All right, but this is restricted now. If this is 2, this is 1, 7. And if this is 4, this is 1, 5. So there's very few options now. Right, and now that digit has to be one of those squares. So that is from 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. That's not very good, is it? Although, maybe, well, if that's 1, that's 2, 3, 5 again, isn't it? Which got us into a terrible pickle before. If that's 2, 3, 5, 3 has to go on the between line, which, I know that's fine if this is 1, because that just has to be a high digit. 9 in column 9 is down there. That's certainly true. Okay, and so is 8, because I can't put 8 on the between line because I'd need to put 9 in one of the circles, and I can't put 9 in this circle anymore, and that circle can't be 9 for many reasons. So, if this was... Or what about that? What about that one? Oh, that's the other digit. Oh, that's interesting. Let's just quickly highlight that. That digit is in one of those 3 squares and lives with its friends, the 8 and the 9, down here. So it's not 8 or 9 by Sudoku, but by other Sudoku to do with the between line, it lives down here. So actually, I don't know. So I'm not sure what that means. Okay, so what we could do is... This is 1, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 7. If that's 5, that forces this between line to be totally extreme, which it can't be. Yeah, that can't be 5, because then there would have to be 3 digits, which would either be 2, 3, or 4, framed by a 1 here, which is... I'm not allowed to put 1 or 9 in this square. And if this is 5, this could be 6, 7, 8. That would be 9. That doesn't work. It might be difficult for this to be 4, actually. If this is 4... We've got to go up then to this digit. No, that can't work. That cannot work. Yeah, if this is 4, we can't go down because 3, 2, 1 would take us to 0 here. So we have to go up. Now if we fill it with the minimum we could, which would be 5, 6, 7, this would still need to be an 8 or a 9, which it's not allowed to be. So this digit is coming right down in the panoply of digits it can be. Now, the problem is 7 was the next one we might want to try and get rid of, although that's not going to be under as much pressure. If that's 7, we have to go down, so we're looking at these digits being from, well, actually this can't be a 1, so this is at least a 2. So this has got a minimum of 3 on it. So if that's 7, these digits would be from 3, 4, 5, and 6. But we have to be a bit... No, we don't, actually. So if that's 7... No, actually, I'm not sure. I think that's okay if that's 7. I think 1 is going to be absolutely fine here, because then this can be anything, really. 7 or 6. There's so much room, and if it's 2... Well, it would make this... If this is 2, this becomes 1, 2, 7. Yeah, sorry. I think what I'm being slow here, but I think what I need to do is actually think quite hard, and perhaps a bit harder than I just did. If that's 7, because this becomes 1, 2, 7. if that doesn't, no, it just doesn't get rid of, well, it means that's at least 3, doesn't it? So this would have to be 4, 5. That is interesting. So if that's 7, because that becomes 1, 2, 7, because 7 has to go in one of those 3 squares by Sudoku. Now this can't be 2, so the minimum value of this is then 3, which means that that has to be 4, 5, and 6. So 1, 2, 7, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 7, 3, 8, 9. That's probably fine. Ah, you rotten old thing. You rotten thing. Goodness me. Sorry, I thought I might be able to disprove it by considering that. Alright, if this is 2, then that is still 1, 2, 7. So this has got a maximum value of 6 then. So this is 3, 4, 5. So then we're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, 8, 9 then. Oh, sorry, I'm going round in circles here, aren't I? There's so many options. So what that's teaching me, because what we have to remember with zetamath is you're dealing with a very clever chap, basically. So it's not going to be exhaustive case testing. My phone's buzzing now. I don't need that. It's going to be something much more straightforward. Well, not straightforward. It might be difficult, but it's going to be elegant. And case testing is not what I associate Zeta with, so I'm not doing that. I'm going to find something else. Let's try something different. Is it, if that's 1, that's 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. I think it might be something to do with this silly line down here again. I don't think it's to do with this one, is it? Oh, no, actually it might be. 8 and 9 aren't available options for the circles. Ooh. Ooh. So the maximum value of one of these circles is a 7, which means that the digits on the line can be no higher than 6. So the digits on the line from 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, that's really interesting. Don't have a go about my social crisis. It's really interesting to me. If I could get rid of 1 from the, I can see this one can't be a 1. So if there's some reason that can't be a 1, I mean, if that's 1, that is 7. Because if this is 1, that's 2, 3, 5, and that is 7. But we worked out that could work, didn't we? I think this... Oh, hang on, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, but for a very convoluted reason. To do with what we were just working out. Because what we worked out is that when this is 7, you have to put 3, 8, 9 at the bottom. But if I make that 1, that's 2, 3, 5, and I can't do that. But the way I got to the fact that this was 3, 8, 9 was quite difficult. You know, I had to sort of trace it through with 7 being up here, this being 1, 2, 7. So this having to be 3, this having to be 4, 5, 6, and that being 3, 8, 9. I mean, it does break, but that feels difficult to me. I don't think that's what Zeta would have had in mind. Not sure, but I don't think it would be. And see, if I now knowing that neither of these is 1, what does that do? It gets rid of 2 on the line. So this would be from 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's the other thing about the zetamaths puzzles, is that you get a reward normally. When you get a deduction, you get a reward. And that's not a big reward. Eliminating 2 as one of the options from here doesn't feel like it's the reward that we would be expected, or we would be expecting to get from quite a complicated deduction. Let's try something else. Let's try... Where? No, that doesn't work. Let's not try that. Let's try... Oh dear. I don't know. Well... No. Okay, I've got something much simpler. Much simpler. 8 and 9 are there, 8 and 9 are there. Where are 8 and 9 in that row? They can't be in their own boxes, and they're not on the between line. There we go. That's right, isn't it? I don't see why that's wrong. Yeah. So these are actually 8 and 8, 9 pair. Don't know if that matters very much, but it is, at least that is definitely, that is a completely vanilla step, if you like, compared to what we have been doing. So now, now I'm going to eliminate 1 from there. Because where's 1 in this row? It's not here, because the 1 is in one of those 2 squares. It's not on its own line, so 1 is in one of those. It's probably on the 3-cell thingy line, but it's not there anymore. So now, that's done it. That's done it. Because now, the digit here that gets transposed up here is a 2 or a 7. So this must be a 1, 2, 7 triple. How did we get rid of... Oh, we got rid of 4 and 5 because we couldn't fill the line, didn't we? That's how we did that. So that's totally fine. Right, that's much more elegant. So this is 2 or 7. Gets transposed onto a 3-cell 10-sum that has a 1 on it. So this is 1, 2, 7. And I know where things go on this. That's 2. This is huge, actually, because that being 2... this is huge, because 1, 2, 7 means that's got to be 4, 6. It's the only 10 method available, so that's 8. Now, what's that doing? Oh, it's getting rid of 6. Oh, there you go. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Oops. So, what are those squares? 3, 5. So 5 goes here, 2 goes here. Does this just stop now? Maybe. It won't stop. I think this will do things. In fact, there's no way that can be 5 now, is there? Because we worked out if this was 5, you have to have an extreme between line, and that can't be 1 or 9. So that's got to be 3. That's got to be 5. 3 can't go next to 2 on a between line, so that's 7. This is 4, 5, 6. This is 3, 8, 9. So this is the version of the world that we thought about. Now, if that's true and the 1 wasn't on this line, this 3-cell line, there would be no fill for this. Because if it doesn't have 1 on it, it must be 2, 3, 5, and it couldn't be. So it does have 1 on it. It's now not 1, 3, 6 or 1, 2, 7, so it's 1, 4, 5. And I know the order. Here we go. Here we go. 4 and 6 go into the grid up there. 6 and 2 have to be put in this box. So I get a 2. I get a 2 on this thingy line. Now that's not 6. So in fact, none of them are 6. Why do I focus on the one on the black dot? That can't be 5, actually. That's 3 or 4. So it either goes up to a 6, down to a 2, or up to an 8. 2, 6, or 8. Definitely even. Now, 3, 4, 5, 1, 6, 8, 9 pair. So these squares are a 2, 7 pair, I think. Well, that's quite good. Because now that seems to have to be a 3 on this. Oh, that doesn't help us, does it? Because this wasn't affected. Whether this was 2 or 3 made no difference to this line. So, where are we then? We've got to put 5 into this box. We can do it. This is a 4, 6 pair. I can do that. This is 6, this is 7, this is 7, this is 1. There's all sorts of Sudokuage going on now, which is an outrage, let me tell you. This is 7, this is 2. 2, 4 must go up, mustn't it, to make the between line work. So this is now 1. That's not a 3. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Losing its religion. 2 3s in the corner. We haven't had many recently, so that's quite a surprise. Now, Oh, lovely. Lovely. Right. Now, let's go back to the logic right at the start of the puzzle. First thing I said, you've got to put 5 on a 5-cell Renban line. Where is the 5 on this 5-cell Renban line, given both of these between lines have 5 on them? There. So that's not 5, so this is 5, which means that's 5. How many 5s have we got in the grid? Quite a number. Not actually all of them, though. Not all of... Oh, that's in... right. But this line suddenly becomes interesting, doesn't it? Because now its ability to be it can't have a 5 on it, I don't think. This 5 is beautiful because it sees that square. This 5 sees that square. And this 5 sees that square. So if there's no 5 on a 4-cell Renban, what do we know about the nature of it? It is an extreme Renban. It is either 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if it was 6, 7, 8, 9, that would be very interesting, because this would have to be 8 here, 9 here, 6 here, 7 here. That would be forced. But if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that would have to be 2. This would be a 1, 3, 4 triple. The 4 would have to go here. So this is 4 or 7 by the logic we just did. 3 would go here. And 1 would go there. I don't actually know which of these I think is more likely. So 8, 9. This can never be 8, can it? So this is 2 or 6. That doesn't resolve this. Okay. Alright, maybe more Sudoku. If in doubt, we'll risk doing some Sudoku. 4, 6, 9. Oh! That's a very low digit to be on this Renban. We can't have 9 on it. If it's got 1, 2 or 3 on it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the maximum digit on this Renban. What are those digits from? 3, 7, 8. What did I just say? The maximum digit was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it can't be 8 there. And these digits are 1, 2, 9. Well, we just said we can't put 9 on it, so now it's got a 1 or a 2 here. So now the minimum value is the maximum value on this Renban is 6, isn't it? Which is going to give us... Oh, this is going to give us a 1, 2, 3 triple on the Renban. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know how you spotted this when you were creating this puzzle, zetamath, but that's really lovely. Yeah, because this is 1 or 2. You can't put 7 on the Renban. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the maximum. So this is a 3, but now you can't repeat the 3 on the Renban, which gives us a 1, 2 pair, which means 1 is on the Renban, which means the Renban is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's got to be the 4. And... oh, this dot comes into play. 3 and 6. That fixes the other Renban as a high Renban, which we can now fit. This is gorgeous. Good grief. Good grief. 1, 3. This is a 1, 3 pair. These are digits from 5 and 2, I think. Can we do that? Possibly not. That's a 4 by Sudoku. There's a 4 in one of those squares. That's a 3 by Sudoku in this box up here. There's a 3 here now. That's 3, that's 4, that's 3, that's 1. Lovely. It is a very, very clever, this. Right, that's not 4. Can we do something with 5s, maybe? That's not 4. 3s can come out of those squares. 7 and 8 are resolved, look. 8 goes there, that's good. That's a win for the goodies. That's 7. 4, 6 are a pair here. This has got to be a 2 then, hasn't it? So that's 2, that's 1, that's 9. Along the rem band, that's 2, that's 1. 1 has only one place. 1 goes in there. It looks like it's starting to be kind to us at last. We've got 7, 8. I mean, there's a 7 down here. This is 8 or 9. That's not 8. What do we need here? 2, 6, 9. Yeah, we can do the 6 at least. Yeah, that's good. So 6, 4, 4, 5, 6, 5, 2, 2, 9, 7. That should be resolved. Yeah, 7, 8. I was thinking it didn't look deadly. Ah, whoopsie. 8, 9, 9, 8, 9, 8. 9, 6. What a clever puzzle. Good grief. That was incredibly... It was very interesting. I mean, the break-in was beautiful. I love this idea down here, sort of telling us which way round the 2, 3, 5s go. Then what did we do next? We thought about this, didn't we? And we could work out how this worked. But yeah, and then there was I love the fact that you could restrict, well, firstly that you could restrict that digit to being up there, and then eventually force it to be from the 217 triple. And that just broke the puzzle open. There was some very nice stuff with the rem bands towards the end. Have I got it right? Yes. That's just wonderful. Wonderful. Oh goodness, it's a year old, this puzzle. It's a year old. What am I doing? What am I doing not doing this for a year? Anyway, I've made my way through. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And hopefully we'll see you for some streaming in a moment or two's time. Yeah, there'll be more Sudoku later. Bye for now.